So you've butchered your jackfruit, you've separated the fruit, and you now have the seeds. What do you do with it? Make chocolate hummus. Today, you fill it up with water and you put your seeds in here and you boil it. Why? Raw jackfruit seeds are toxic. Do not eat them. So we're going to turn it on. We're going to let it boil. You're going to let it boil anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how many seeds you have. Also, you want to watch to make sure it doesn't boil over like potatoes and pasta. They kind of do that too if it gets too much. You want to make sure it doesn't run out of water because that'll obviously burn them. But what you're looking for is to be able to stick your fork into a jackfruit seed without any real complication. It's kind of like when you're testing whether your beans are done. Think of them kind of like legumes with an extra hard shell that we have to get rid of after we're done cooking it. Okay, so think your jackfruit seeds might be done. I find using a slotted spoon to hold the jackfruit seed, and then I can. So we're looking for a texture that's kind of easy to put your fork through. The easier it is, the softer your hummus is going to be. But as long as it goes through, that means that the toxins have been cooked out and it's safe to eat and it's kind of soft. Okay, so we tested the jackfruit seed. I don't have ice, but you can put ice in your water, and then I have a bowl to put the seed in. So just like that trick for shelling eggs quickly, if your jackfruit seeds are nice and hot and you put them into cold water, what you will end up doing is kind of separating the shell from the seed a little bit, so it just makes it easier for the seed to actually pop out once you cut it open. You can see the water. I don't know if the water is now toxic, like will it kill plants if I pour it on plants, or is that water like really, really bad, or is that just stuff that like starch that is cooked out and it just happens to be brown because the inside of jackfruit seeds skins are brown? I don't know. Any scientists out there want to answer my question? So get all these out. We don't want to have them sitting in there too long. Okay. And then I reach in here. Now some of these you can see have splits down them. My recommendation is if you don't have a knife or you're working with a kid and you want to just have them do it by hand, if there's any splits, they can just tear the skin off like this. But be careful because the shells do have a hard part right here that can kind of irritate that part underneath your nail like that. So rather than doing that, I have found, so here's the hard part of the shell, and just cut down just like this. Use the knife to help hold it while you're splitting it, otherwise you're going to be chasing the nut meat around and just pop it out just like that. So we go through and see on this one, you can see how wrinkly and how much space there is between the skin and the nut meat. So, and this one's really soft. It must have been sitting at the bottom of that pan. And so that's what we do. We put it in the cold water for. Like I said, if you put ice in the water, it'll make it even easier. So that makes it, here's one, all we had to do is pull it off like this. So this is how you can make it easier for kids to help, where they're not having to use a knife. Just make sure that your water's cold enough. Now my water's not that cold, so I'm going to go through and do it with a knife. I also prefer not busting up my underneath my nail. So I will go through and cut up all these jackfruit seeds that are in that bowl. And that's the first step. You can make it any kind of hummus, but we're going to make chocolate hummus because that's our favorite around here. As you can see, they're not all like perfectly chopped or anything like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's pieces missing, whatever. It's more important to get the shell off than to make them look perfect. Because our next step is to stick them in the blender. Okay, so my hummus is not as creamy as I want it. I need to add some more tahini, but I kind of ran out the other one. So this is what it looks like when you open it. I've already taken the foil off, but I haven't stirred it yet. And as you can see, it's really kind of thin, oily. But as I get down to the bottom, and some brands are better than others, some are thicker, some are thinner. And depending on what temperature your house is, and right now I'd say mine's probably, mid 70s probably, but it's close to 90 degrees outside today. So they're going to be of different consistencies, but you can see the tahini that's left inside this jar is still kind of really hard and kind of like almost peanut buttery when it doesn't have enough oil in it. So I'm going to see if I can do a little bit of getting this out and adding it to here, and then adding some of this other tahini that's got a little more oil mixture. At least that way I'm not throwing this away while it's still got some good tahini in it. So we're going to pour some of this in here, just a little bit, because we would just want to add a little bit of creaminess.